Yeah, Vortex here. Welcome to my review of the KZ ASX, as you can see over there. Very ambitious release from KZ, but not necessarily a good one. But I'll get to that in a bit. I'll show them in a second. So this is what you actually get for packaging. Pretty much the same as the ASX and ZAX. So mine is the bright silver one, which I'll show you in a second, and mine's the non-mic. I always try and pick non-mic because there's less to go wrong, essentially. And I do have a little bit of less resistance in the cable. Then that's ultimately a good thing, and that's just company information. Kind of hard to see. And yeah, that's it. So you get, in here is small and large tips. Move these. Just user guide, the usual in English and Chinese, at least it's the correct model. Product warranty card, the usual, and a certificate, which is all normal stuff. And it came with this cable. Personally, I've used another one which is exactly the same, so this is why this is still, it's still wrapped up. I've got one that's exactly identical, so I use that. But yet, it's not about cable. These are essentially the upgrade cables that you could have bought before. So very, very straightforward. And let's get straight onto them. No messing about. I had high hopes for these because of what they are. 10 armatures aside, which is very ambitious. The highest they've done before was the ZAX, which is released a month or two before these. And they're 8 drivers aside with a dynamic. And they're much smaller than these, which is kind of a key thing. Actually, before getting to anything, let's compare them. So let's get... Here we go. So these are big. Look at the shell design is massive. CA16s, which I think fit better somehow. You can see the shell. It's really fat there. See, it's a bit smaller, like width, and curves more at the top. These are the biggest shells beforehand, but these are big now compared to a ZAX, which is only 2 drivers difference. Look at the difference, especially look at the especially here. They are much smaller. They are a better fit. These I had a bit of. After a while, they do get uncomfortable. Maybe you need to trim that, but I think if that was smaller, and if this part was smaller, it would probably be a lot better. But because these are big, and obviously there's 10 drivers, like that one there is the big BA one, just there. Kind of a disappointment, but anyway, I get to fitment. Fitment could have been better. Comfort could have been better. But as I say, it's a big shell. They have to, obviously it's just full of drivers. I think they could have done a better job with a lot less, and I think they have. There is a new release called the ASF, which I don't have, and that's got 5 BAs, and a lot of people say it sounds extremely similar. So what are these extra 5 armatures doing? I think they're just selling it basically on driver count, which is a bit of a shame. I've used this with a few sources, my Shanling MO, my Sonata HD Pro, the Tempo Tech Sonata and BHD, and obviously SMSL idea. And they're all like low output impedance players and sources, so I wanted to use something good to try them on. Finish, the actual the focus, the outside looks really good, and then you look and the white looks a bit cheap, but obviously there it's a guide. They've done this before. I love to have compared these with the AS16s, but unfortunately I've never tried them and I don't have them. So that's the type of tips they use. So oops, I dropped it quite small. Like the CA16s, I think you have to use the Spin Fit CP800s, I think, are the ones you need. Isolation I thought was really good, fitted really well for that kind of thing, blocks a lot out. Now let's get unfortunately to the worst part, sound. The low end is really like emphasized, like it's got too much low end and it bleeds into the mids and then it shoots straight back up. So the mids on these are very small because it bleeds into them and then shoots back up about, I think, 1.5, 2K. Vocals can sound a bit off. It all depends on the voice. Like some vocals are like pushed back, but sometimes they are where they should be. It just depends. But a lot of the vocal tracks I tried, there was pushback, which you may or may not like. That's all up to you. No real fatigue, really. Like say upper mids, there's a bit of a like 1.5, I think 2K goes up to the mid, so there's a little bit of an emphasis. The tuning's a bit different to the ZAX, which I think they may have better tuning than these, and they are a bit cheaper. Plus they fit better. A problem with these is the treble. Considering these 10 drivers, there's an upper treble roll off, so after like 6K it rolls off, where the ZAX has still got more. The treble on the ZAX is actually better than this, strangely enough. These had high hopes for me, which is shame. They got the right medicine, shall we say. They just need someone to actually make use of all the hardware, because these have got potential, but it just wasn't administered that well, really. And obviously the price, these are what, 50, 60, 70 pound, which is cheap for the driver count, because they've gone for the driver count battle with these, which is not the way that could have gone. As you say, the ASF have half the drivers and meant to sound extremely similar. So what are those extra armatures actually doing? So which is kind of the thing, really. For electronic music, these are beasts because the low end, like if you like trance, hard trance, techno, these things pump. For like the odd film and like The Mandalorian, I watched the latest episode of The Mandalorian with these, and it sounded really good. You could tell he had a low end. The emphasis was on the low end. Speech in that show sounded good, and I've tried these with a couple of films, and for films they sound good. But when you use music, which is more critical, so for like films and like TV shows, it didn't sound too bad on these because then it's not that critical. But when you go to music, you hear the flaws more easy. But like on like a Little Mix on one of their tracks, they sounded really forward. So it all depends on how it's all mastered and all that. I tried these with like Sam Smith's new album, and it actually sounded pretty. It sounded pretty good because obviously his voice is a bit deeper, but it did go into the actual, because he's in like the lower mids, but it's hard. It's kind of hard to describe. But so sometimes it sounds fine, sometimes it doesn't. But as you can see, there's a crossover. So there's the crossover. There's the big bass BA. The AS16 had 2 and had less bass in this. This only got 1. This is meant to use like new generation armatures, which I presume are boasting. There you can see a few. There's no actual armatures in the nozzle. They're all in the actual shell, really. So yeah, I think kind of a short video, really. Kind of a disappointment. They do work well in some situations, but not in others. But for the price, it's kind of disappointing, really. You know, I had high hopes. The magic is in there. They just need someone else to do a really nice tuning job, because I think they can do it. The potential is there. I'm kind of looking forward to what they do next. Like in a few places, these are really good reviews, but in a few places, they don't. So my opinion is they aren't great, really, but they're not awful either. They're kind of in the middle, but for the price, they should be better. Shell is really big. I think it will make it like a ZSX, which is that kind of part, is smaller than this, and people moaned about the comfort with that. So imaging was okay. There should be more micro details. It does lack a bit of micro details. It should be more there. It just needs refinement. Somebody could do a good work. Maybe crossover needs changing, which you can see there. But they have got potential, but it just needs some tuner to basically kind of get the most out of it, because it's all there. It's all inside. And I think that's it. There wasn't that hard to drive either before I go. Easier than I thought, considering the driver count. And I think that's it. Potential missed, really. I'd like to see what they do next. But I think the ZAX below this is probably more of a performer than this is, and that's a bit cheaper. Obviously a better fitment because it's a lot smaller. And I think, yeah, and that was easy to power as well. So, yeah, I think that's it. Fingerprints. But the shell does look really good. But, yeah, opportunity missed, but I'm looking forward to what they do next. Or I might have to throw a lot of EQ at this. I'll have to see what I can do. But yeah, that's it really. It's the tuning's a bit off, too much bass, not enough upper treble, lower mids have bass bleed. Vocals need sorting, but overall they're not that. It's not a terrible earphone. It just needs like a version 2 to fix it, really, or to improve it. And yeah, that's it, I think. Anything else you want to know, just let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching and take care.